Right, guys, there's a secret trick that will allow you to get way more damage versus the Continental Challenge bosses. And this will work for pretty much every single one of the bosses. It's something that I haven't found out only after I saved my runs last week. But that makes so much sense because some of my runs were literally getting 280 million or 240, 250 million. And it did not really make a lot of sense. Why is it such a big damage difference, right? Why is it such a huge fluctuation in the numbers? But this makes a lot of sense now that I know exactly what it is. So from what I understood, this is something that was done by the Chinese players in Dragonheir Silent Gods on their game version, and then slowly it kind of like creeped out into our world as well, to say it like that. Welcome to the channel, everyone, and welcome to another Dragonheir Silent Gods. As I was mentioning, we are talking about the Continental Challenge bosses. This is not necessarily something that will help necessarily every single player out there. It's a trick that will enable you to score high damage after you reach the 200 million mark. For whoever is not familiar, these bosses have a huge damage reduction once you reach the 200 million damage. So after taking 200 million damage, cumulative damage in a single battle, subsequent damage taken is reduced by 90%, which means that your numbers won't really be doing that much overall. But if you get this right at the mark that enables you to pass that 200 million damage, you can make it with a big boom and score a crazy damage. So let me just quickly head on to one of the bosses where it's a bit easier to do it on auto and to kind of like show you exactly what I'm talking about. So my wild team in here, as I was mentioning, had a huge damage fluctuation because it was either 240, either 280, either 270. And to start with, I was like, okay, this might just be the RNG of wild characters. It's just the way it works. But that is not the case whatsoever. So you start the fight. I'm going to let it play throughout. I might have to do multiple runs to basically get it spot on. But there is a trick. If you manage to proc your ultimate skills right before the 200 million mark, you're going to have a huge jump. Because you haven't reached the 200 million mark, the game does not apply that damage reduction on the initial boom, for example, right? So if by any chance Flora's ultimate will proc at exactly 195 million damage, and I'm talking the final vortex actually applying the damage, you're gonna have a massive jump to like 220, 230, in some cases even higher damage. So basically that is the trick. You need to find a way to basically use the ultimate skill before you use the before you reach the 200 million mark. Check this out. You see, we have 189 and Flora is about to make the boom, and we jump to 220 million instead of going from 200 million to 205. Now, this was bad RNG because that vortex did not actually make the big boom in terms of like allowing us to get a lot of big numbers with the dice, right, with the rolls. But once you reach the 200 million mark, one of Flora's ultimates won't make more than 5 or 6 million on top of it, right? So that's the whole trick for every single elemental boss, for every single team. I'm talking Lilwanis, I'm talking about Vitar, I'm talking about every single one of them. If you're timing that ultimate skill to proc right before the 200 million mark, you're gonna have a huge jump, right, from 198, from 190 million, all the way to 220, 230. It can go even crazier depending on how good the RNG is. Now, it's pretty hard to time it. It's going to take a lot of retries to make it happen because it's not all about proccing it at the right moment. It does matter how much damage you're doing throughout the fight. So if, for example, I'm going to back out of this fight, you see, we have 250 million damage right now. It's still not great because that boom did not activate properly. And that's exactly what I was saying. Was such a huge difference in the numbers that I was like, okay, it must be just the freaking RNG. Now, in a way or another, it's just the RNG, but this is the way to unlock the crazy damage. And a lot of people were not talking about it. At least, I'm not sure if anyone talked about it in a video to make the masses aware of how this works. If by any chance my Flora will have crazy good RNG throughout this run, and I'm gonna get to the 200 million damage mark right before the Vortex makes the boom, I'm gonna be doing less damage, okay? And that is the same thing for everyone. Lelwonis, every single one of the characters that do big damage when they proc their ultimate skills. So I'm showing you this because it tends to sometimes work very good on auto, sometimes it doesn't. So if we're going to pay attention to the numbers right now, we are proccing one of the ultimate skills. This should probably take us to like 150, if not more than that, 164. Most likely this will not work this time around because we're going to proc the ultimate and we're going to cap at around 200, or actually 191. Let's see. Can we do the big boom right before the 200 million mark? 242, you saw? The Vortex literally just procced at 199 million. And we jumped to 240 million. This is the secret. This is the secret to basically allow you to push well over 200 million damage, okay? And I will probably try to do it more or less on every single team that I'm using. It's going to take a lot of work, a lot of retries to basically make this happen. But this was the example of being super close. If they were using their battle skills one more time before the Vortex actually made the boom from her ultimate skill, this would have been probably 206 million. Because we already we were gonna pass the 200 million before the Vortex made the boom. But because we got 199 million, and that's where the Vortex actually made the boom, it jumped us to 240 million damage. And right now, because that timed so freaking perfectly, we are already at 280 million. So this should go somewhere at around 290 million damage, more or less, once we're done with all of the ultimate skills. So very, very, very important to be aware of this and basically try to somehow time it to be able to get some crazy damage. We have 283 million damage. And now we're going to proc another ultimate right before the boss is about to... We procced it? I think we did. So almost 290 million damage. You see that? So what a huge difference from the first run where the ultimates did not actually enable us to make a massive jump from the 190 million mark, comparing it with this time around where we had a huge jump from 199 million to 240 million damage. The thing is going to be more or less pretty damn hard to make it happen on every single one of the bosses. The thing with Wild is even more RNG because in a way or another, you really want to time it to proc the ultimate right at 198, 199 million as it happened right now, which was perfect. So it's all about this, you see? Let me just quickly read it for you. Deals this much damage to an enemy and inflicts a vortex lasting for 10 seconds. So this vortex needs to end this 10 seconds duration right at the mark of 198, 199 million to have the huge jump that we had. Now, when this ends, we need to have that good RNG of the wild characters where they proc only high numbers. The higher the numbers, the bigger the boom on the vortex. So that's why on the first one, we started at 188 or 190 million, but that vortex did not accumulate a lot of high dice rolls in order to enable us to have such a huge blast. And as I was saying, this will work for pretty much any team on every single boss. The higher the damage impact that they can put overall, which nothing compares to Flora, the bigger the jump in damage. So even versus Vesca, Talendor, any bosses, you can actually pull that off. So if we're going to bring in here, for example, let's go with the Necro team. Is this what I was running? We can run this one even though I'm going to change my team. But basically, the whole idea is you want their ultimate skills to proc right before. Now, this is going to be very challenging for some of them because you might have a different skill timing. They might be dealing a lot of damage with the battle skills, with the basic attack skills, and that will make you cross that thin line in between 190 plus to 200 million. Once you cross the 200 million, right before you use the ultimate is GG's, because you're not going to be able to have that huge explosion in damage, right? So that will make a massive, massive difference. That's why it's really, really important to somehow try and time it. We're going to try to do this on a quick manual. I can't promise you that I'll be able to pull it off, but at least I'm going to show you exactly how you could potentially try to do that on auto. So I'm going to let Lil Wanis use one more. Actually, we might not let him use another ultimate skill. Let's see, we are 160. I feel like if I'm proccing another ultimate skill with her now, I'm going to reach the 200. Let's see. 181. Okay, so hopefully this next ultimate that I'll be proccing with her is going to be before that. But I think we're going to reach 200 million right freaking now. Because I'm actually going to try to stop this one from... Yeah, we reached 200 million too late. Because right now when we're proccing the ultimates, check this out. You see? We barely got any damage. So it's going to be very hard to time it for some of these teams. But it's very, very important to try and make it happen because the damage jump is absolutely huge. Now, for the wild team, for me, was much easier to show it to you in the video because it tends to time more or less good on auto. It does depend how much damage we are doing with the very first few vortexes. With this team, is a bit different because Lil Wanis, of course, she's going to stack up more damage. But this right here is a failed run because this will not allow me to get more than 230 million damage at maximum, okay? And I saved it last week with like 240 or something like that. So it's all about using this secret freaking method, secret tip, okay? Hopefully, this will enable you to push higher damage. It will enable you to get higher on the leaderboards, but it works for every single boss, for every single team. And no, I do not consider this an exploit. It's in fact a good strategy to basically make a big boom before you reach the damage mitigation, okay? Let me know how many of you guys were already aware of it, how many of you guys were already using this. Definitely very, very curious to hear your thoughts as well. But this is how you get stupid damage. Unfortunately, it won't make a difference for people that won't reach the 200 million mark, okay? But for the rest of you filthy, degenerate krakens like myself that are trying to push the highest possible numbers, this is the method. I will be doing videos on the bosses that I'll be attacking in this second week, to basically show you the strats that I'm using, the teams that I'm using to try and get the highest possible score. I won't be saving my runs because we still have... How much we have? We have 4 days left. So probably in like 3 days, I will be doing the videos on that. Monday, Tuesday, or maybe I'll try to do the videos earlier just to show you the strats to help you prep and stuff. But that's all for this video. I just wanted to share this secret method with you guys. As usual, appreciate all of you guys watching, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace.